It always comes to this. More nice shit. Morning guys, back again to do another tattoo progress update today. When I last left off, I had talked about the new pink that we did in the brain here. For that we used hot pink mixed with red nebula fusion. Sorry, I'm just pointing to the ink as I'm talking. All of the color inks we use here are fusion, as I've mentioned many times. Still get asked all the time if we've got some kind of magic ink that works over black. It's nothing like that. I've had other inks used over top of me. It all works. It's just the artists here prefer fusion. Rick swears by it for cover-ups, etc. So that's just the color we use. And there was also some of that hot pink mixed with white. It has healed quite a bit brighter, but it's something that you probably wouldn't even know unless you were looking like side-by-side comparison. The color overall is more potent or bright in the brain than it was before, and where before it was more of a soft pink, now it's got more of that hot pink color. And I don't think that there was actually a pink that we have here that was strong enough to do that on its own, but pairing it with a very bright red I think helped it go in and show up brighter. Before it was kind of camouflaging with the red velvet a little more. It's still, I still think there's a few things I can do to tweak that, but I don't know if I would ever be happy with any of my tattoos. Like, realistically, I am happy with them, but I think it's one of those, there's always more you can do type deal. And once you start thinking that way, and once you start understanding that, there's no end to how much more you can do with a color tattoo. And a lot of people think that you just go in and you get a color tattoo and it's as good as it can ever be. And it's like, there's levels to this. And even regular color tattoos can almost always benefit from something more than they get. It's frustrating being like working in a tattoo shop and you see why this happens. It's not generally the artists, it's mostly the clients. They don't come back for touch-ups. They don't come back for second passes. Usually when they leave with that tattoo, you'll almost never see them again. There are some exceptions to the rule, but I would say 80% of clients just get one-offs and then fuck off. So it is what it is. It's not my tattoo, but if it was, I'd be taking better care of it than that. With that said, I also had my hand worked on, and it's peeling, and it's a lot redder than it was. As you can recall, it was fairly translucent before. All of the line work in the spider web is done quite well. There's one little line that needs to be touched up, and they're a little shakier than they are on my arm, but hand skin is different, and it's not enough that bothers me. All the black, obviously, around the rose turned out just fine. Some of it is still peeling. I should note that this hand healed easier than last time, or the time before. It healed really, really easy in general. I didn't have the problems that I normally have, which further strengthens my argument that my body has gotten better at healing, not worse, because this is the most scarred part of my body, and it healed easier this time, now being the 4th time we've done the red on black. And this is, I think, the 6th time we've tattooed this hand this year, if I'm keeping track correctly. So extensive work and healing faster, not slower. I put up a slide of all 4 of my my different versions of this sleeve on my Instagram the other day, and I got so many people asking me how slow my healing is, like they expect it to be taking forever. And realistically, I'm healing faster than anyone I know. I don't know anyone that heals faster than me, and it's the reverse of what seemingly everyone would think. I don't know why. You would think that like any muscle you work would get stronger, but most people think that your body's going to break down from it. And I think that's just, maybe if you're getting terrible tattoos all the time, or you're getting tattooed by savages that don't know what the fuck they're doing, you should not be scarring up your clients every time you touch them. If you are, adjust something. That's not normal. It's not a guarantee of a tattoo session that you're gonna fucking hurt someone. So if you're thinking that way, you need to make some changes. If you every time you tattoo someone, you're scarring them, you need to change something. Because most times that shouldn't happen. That's a result of something going wrong. Either on the client's end of healing, which you could do more to educate, or somewhere in the application. And I would say 80% of times, scar tissue is the result of something that happened during the session, not something post-session. A very well done tattoo is almost hard to fuck up. So anyway, not gonna linger on that much more. Obviously I had my hand tattooed last week. We did all this stuff in here, and we did this little one where there's a lead up here. It's always hard to show. We did some more this week. Rick and I were in. We did this underside tentacle here, which made a huge difference, because to be honest, that one was only done once and it took really well the first time. So again, with those light green / blues in there, it really helped to have those tentacle, or that underside of the tentacle, stand out a little more in the composition. Obviously it will fade back a bit. And we came up and did this part here, and that's the second or third time for all that, and then the third time for this part of the hand. Next up, we obviously have to do the red again, and the whole hand will need to be done one more time at least. I think probably one more time will get it up to the standard of the rest of the sleeve, which is to say that most of it is getting close to where I can walk away from it for some substantial period of time at 63 sessions. But we still have work to do in places like this part of my armpit needs to be filled in, and then all of this will need to be hit a second time. But for one pass, we really got a good result on that, and I'm really happy with the creature's face in general. And this is a testament to Rick's creativity, because he drew all this shit on, and like, you just gotta trust an old guy like that's been doing tattoos for a long time. He could probably freehand most of the work he does. He's that artistic. Not all artists are so artistic. But speaking of Rick, we were talking about doing starting a final pass up on all this stuff up here, because I think with how good it is, and we haven't touched that in about 4 or 5 months, if we hit that again, it's going to be like, it'll be brighter than most people's color on regular skin. And because of the result we got down here, I think everything could go one more time and we could get even better. I think that's about as good as it needs to be. But the stuff up here now is a little bit weaker than this is. And that's not because it's been longer and that it's faded off. It's because we reached a new level of saturation with this one, and now I want all the sleeve to be at that level. And so some of the reason why this is taking so long isn't because the sleeve isn't finished in some sense. It's because I'm also a perfectionist, and I've got time and I've got the money to do this, and why not, right? I enjoy being tattooed anyway, especially arm tattoos. May as well make it as good as you can. It's like, if this had more legs to go, like if I could make this better than it is now theoretically, and I don't think there's a whole lot more I can do with the rose sleeve, then I'd be down to do the sessions. It would be a matter of, let's do it. But I think that arm has reached a point where beyond touch-ups in some amount of time, I don't think there's much more that can be done to enhance it. So, yeah. Whereas with this sleeve, there's still a few places, like in here really needs to go again, and I think we need another round on the elbow still. Even though it's held in there better than last time, there's still more that can be done. And overall, there's just some spots. Like, I think this was only done one time. That could go again. And I think we should probably go in through here again as well, too. Just to get it all up to that same level. But anyway, with all that said, I've got a session coming up with Terry tomorrow. And is it tomorrow? Yes, it's tomorrow. Sorry, I just forgot what day it was. We're going to be hitting the tentacles on my torso. I talked to Rick about it. I told him, I'm looking to get done with my torso here within the year, roughly. So it's not personal. If Rick and I hadn't been done with the sleeve, I probably would have let him fuck around on my torso again. He did 2 years on the tentacles on my torso, so he has a pride of ownership of those things, and he wanted to do them. But I told him it's not personal. Like, you can't be territorial of my body anyway, and anyone who's worked on me should know this, that things are going to change, and it's not dependent on one artist. It never will be. There are people who, they'll come into my comments and they'll be like, well, you wouldn't be able to do this without these artists. It's like, no, this project has been happening irregardless of the artists that have been on the job. I've worked with 30 different people. I'm happy with the artists I have now, and they're doing great work. But if Rick dies tomorrow, which will be relevant in a minute, I promise, the project continues. Same thing. When Terry leaves, and he will leave eventually, I have other people who want to be tattooing me and already know how to do this. This is a skill like any other, and people have made too much of the mysticism around this work. There's no magic. There's no magic wand. These guys aren't doing a special skill. This is color saturation. So if you can saturate color, you can tattoo over black. This is not an argument. There's nothing special about it. Neither one of these guys will tell you that there is. The only thing, like, if you've done a cover-up of any kind before, then you can do any of this. If you've worked around, like, realistically, guys, there's nothing that special about it. I've asked Terry. I've grilled Terry because Terry's pretty open, unlike Rick. Rick is a little more secretive. And Terry's like, I don't know, I just put the color in. Like, it's that fucking simple. Like, yeah, there's technical parts to this, of course. But there is to any tattooing. So it's not some fucking magic trick. If you got a guy nearby that can, like, tattoo color tattoos, he's got a shot at doing this for you, as long as he's got an open mind. That's the fucking magic power. Most people in this industry are so set in their ways that they're so close to new information, it's honestly embarrassing. Anyway, Rick was unhappy that Terry's going to be doing the tentacles, but he does understand, and I told him, if anyone's earned a bit of a slower pace at this, it's me. I've been at this for a long, long fucking time, and I kind of just want to get those things done. I've been dreading doing them, but they need to be done, and I'm excited to have them done. That's one that I'm not excited to sit for, because I've done around 3 years of weekly work on my torso. Between my first suit, my blackout, and the new tentacles, and the armpit tattoos, and all that shit on my ribs and stomach. There's probably no one alive that's worked on their torso more than me, and I've had more work on my torso than anywhere on my body. So that's ribs and stomach and all that shit that no one likes sitting for. I've done that dance a million fucking times, and I'm really just looking to get through it. So, yeah, I think we're going to target the ones on my stomach first, and I think we can bang out probably 3 of them in 4 or 5 hour session. And then the next week we'll probably be going a little slower where the other tentacles are bigger on my sides. But I am excited to get to work on that, and I have a really cool idea for the colors, so they should be a lot better soon. And they've been the weakest part of my suit for quite a while. Just coloring in everything around them really made them look too soft in the overall composition, and they don't stand out the way that they should. Given how much work has been dedicated to them, I want those things to be a focal point, not something that was left behind. So, yeah, I've got a lot more stuff to say about Rick in general, but maybe I'll save that for tomorrow's episode. There's a lot to unpack there, and honestly, I might have more to say the next time I'm talking to you guys, but Rick had a pretty bad accident, and I'm not sure when we'll see him here again, and I'm not going to elaborate more on that until I know more myself, but less as a client and more of as a friend. I am concerned about his well-being currently, and that Rick doesn't do well when he can't work, and he won't be working for a little bit. Although knowing him, he might be back at it anytime soon here. Anyway, I'm not gonna get into that too much here till I know a little more. But yeah, so I'll try and show this off again. So again, through here, and then this part in here. I'm expecting this to heal close to how that healed. So again, not perfect, but better than it was. And everything else is healing up fine. And I'll have some tentacles on my stomach to show you guys here tomorrow. All right, I'll talk to you guys again soon. Have a great day.